having shaken off the disappointment of yesterday's fiasco with the blue and white, I'm going to share a relatively quick PowerPC update. At least quick by my terms. I tend to lose track and make the videos too long, I know. Anyhow, the things I tend to cover. Once I had finished doing the video about the Sawtooth, I booted back up into the dual CPU PowerMac G5. And I have to say, I think I maligned the machine. It's in part, the comparison between having dealt for a week with Sawtooth and then going to dual, two processors that are each twice as fast as the one on the G4. But also, it's not really that slow. There are things that it can't do. You're not going to edit videos in the thing. But day-to-day general computing. Now, one of the things that I knocked the machine for was playing YouTube videos. Well, part of my problem there was having a determination that I was going to watch YouTube videos exactly the way I do on my Mac Pro. Start the video, put it full screen. It's like watching a television set. As long as I didn't go full screen, the G5 played videos absolutely fine. There was no issue, which is really nice to see. That's still quite a usable machine. All right. Also, a bit of an update. On Sawtooth. If you saw the first video I did on the Sawtooth, when I first opened it up, I commented that I was a little surprised to see on the logic board an internal FireWire 400 port. I'd never seen such a thing, and I wondered, what the heck is that there for? Well, I've done a little further research, and what I discover is that Apple really thought there was going to be a market for attaching hard drives via that port. So you'd have an interior hard drive, but attached to FireWire instead of IDE. This didn't turn out, although there was a point there. I have done this. I have taken a G Technologies 750 gig FireWire hard drive. It's a FireWire 800, but you can get cables that adapt 800 to 400 very easily. And I have put that inside the machine. Now, right now it's just kind of sitting in there. It isn't fixed. One important thing that it does is it gets past the IDE limitation on the size of the drive. With the IDE connections, the machine only recognizes 128 gigabytes as a maximum. Looking at it connected the way I've got it, I do get full value of that 750 gigabytes. I've partitioned it into 3. I cloned the OS 9 installation onto one partition. I cloned the Tiger installation onto another. Each of them probably about 112 gig. Tiger, the older Mac OSs define gigabytes differently than newer Mac OSs do. But anyhow, it's there and it's working. Now, when I first did this, both OSs seemed more sluggish. I didn't know what was going to be the case. Yes, it's an SSD to a rather old hard drive. But the SSD is limited by the IDE connection, which is quite slow. They're roughly similar. I wonder what would happen if I could find a way to open that enclosure without breaking it, and then replacing the 2.5-inch hard drive that's got to be in there with an SSD. Now, that might make a huge difference right there. I don't know, right now I'm going to leave well enough alone because I don't see a convenient way of opening it. There's no screws or anything. You could pry it open, but is it going to go back together? And why ruin a perfectly functional hard drive? Anyhow, we'll take a bit of a look at both of these things. So we'll be right back with you. Now, one of the neat things about the Sawtooth enclosure is that you can in fact open it up perfectly well with the machine still running. I'm not going to touch a whole lot, but this right here is that internal Firewire 400 port. That's the cord plugged in. It's a long cord. You can coil it up some, but goes over there, and you can see the activity light on the G Technologies hard drive. As I said, that's a Firewire 800 hard drive, but this adapter cord works quite well. And you can see the screen here. This is 10.4.11 Tiger running off of that Firewire card. And as I work with it more, it seems, forgive me, I haven't adjusted the resolution on the screen here. It's stuck off to the side, but that's easily fixable. As I've worked with it, it doesn't really seem to be tremendously slower. Interesting to play around with anyway. So that there is the first of the updates. Be back with you in just a second, and we will see what's up with the G5. Well, I've been fiddling with this. This is about the best I'm going to do, at least tonight, at capturing as much of the screen as I can with the phone. This is the dual CPU PowerMac G5, booted into Leopard with the Leopard WebKit browser running. The only reason I use this browser is specifically for YouTube, which you see in front of you. Otherwise, I'd use 10 for Fox G5. I had complained a little bit of YouTube. Let's see a demonstration now. If I go to my history. I know this is sad to relive, but that poor blue and white. Well, time to talk about the perils of buying on eBay. And of course, I'm not trying to go full screen or theater mode. Either one of those would be problematic. A PowerMac G3 blue and machines. For obvious reasons. They really were. Okay, but the big point I want to make is, okay, a little tiny bit laggy at the very beginning, but at this point, yes, indeed, those are it's playing like a completely modern machine on YouTube. I am really happy with it. We look at the settings. A couple of big pieces, but and there I'm sure more pieces of that. That's what I can. Okay, it's a 360p. It could probably go higher than this, but to me, this is perfectly watchable and no lag at all. Everything's right there. That's not all. Again, as long as I leave it in this view, when I go to commercial sites, commercial channels where there are ads, even the interspersed ads with which I've had a problem, it behaves almost exactly like a modern machine. I am
I suppose
really,
it
really
might
happy
be
with this,
possible
but
to
I'm going to
find a strong enough
close this out now just
glue
because,
that-
boy, looking at that poor old blue and white is kind of sad. Yeah, the Aurora desktop kind of grows on you more and more. More icons over here. I temporarily took that FireWire portable hard drive out of the Sawtooth. And since it is actually technically a FireWire 800, I connected it via FireWire 800 to this machine. No internal ports, of course, but there is the external. And everything's mounting. So, you know, let's check this out. Startup disk. And our options. This machine cannot boot into OS 9. There are OS 9 installations on here, but it can't boot into it. It can use Classic as long as you've got Tiger. Leopard did not have the Classic environment. So we've selected Tiger, and let's restart. Okay, now everything has appeared here. Yes, we're now booted into Tiger off the FireWire drive. We have to look at About This Mac because it's a YouTube video and everybody always looks at About This Mac. 10.4.11, of course, and showing the 8 gigabytes of RAM, the dual 1.8 gigahertz PowerPC, and yeah, I mean, I experimented with this a little bit earlier before shooting this video. It runs very, very, very well indeed. The problem with this machine, the hard drives are connected via the SATA interface. However, it was an early implementation of SATA, SATA 1. It was very slow compared to modern times, or even on the Mac Pro, which is SATA 2. That between 1 and 2 was a huge jump in speed and responsiveness of drives. Most SSDs are not backwards compatible to SATA 1. They will be backwards compatible to SATA 2, which is why they can install into the base in Mac Pro. But on this machine, they wouldn't register. There are a few, but they're hard to find. Even if you go to OWC's, Other World Computing's sales site, macsales.com, when you look for upgrades to this machine, they don't even list an SSD. They do have an SSHD, kind of a fusion drive, but made by Seagate, I believe, that can be installed here. Okay, we'll look here at one thing. Just to open it really doesn't matter. We'll open Toast. Oh, and Toast just opens. Isn't that interesting? It just opens under OS 10. I'm a little surprised. Okay, we'll open Office then. And open Word. Now, the classic environment has to start up. There's the 9.2 startup screen. As I said, you cannot boot into 9.2 on this machine, but you can run everything under classic. Honestly, there isn't a tremendous reason to do that here, but it is available, and every now and again it may be necessary to do that. Okay. We'll open a new blank document, and here's a word processor. Just as we saw in an earlier video, the menu bar has now switched. This is, what OS 9 looks like. Notice the rainbow icon here for Apple. That's the sure tip-off that we're running in the classic environment. So that is available in this machine, which is an advantage. We can quit out of that, and we're back to the blue Apple that Tiger would ordinarily use. All right. I'll tell you the truth, I'm getting kind of jazzed about this machine, and I'm trying to think ahead to what kind of upgrades I can do. Can I put a PCI SATA controller card in here that would enable a later version of SATA that would run on this machine? And then put an SSD, or maybe those SSHD SSDs. I really have to look into this because this machine is taking on a whole new life, whole new possibilities, and I'm going to work with this quite a bit. So you'll probably, if you're interested, you can always choose not to. You may be seeing a good deal more of this. All right, I think at this point we can just end the video now, and I thank you so much for your kind attention, and have a wonderful evening. We'll have some more coming up sooner rather than later, I think. Thank you.